All right. Well, welcome today, everybody, to a day of technical difficulties on my side so far, and snow everywhere, apparently. So today we are having another guest speaker. Joining us today is Rebecca Hunt Foster. She is the monument paleontologist and museum curator at Dinosaur National Monument. Dinosaur National Monument, for anyone who doesn't know, is out in Utah, so she's joining us from Utah today. She was formerly the district paleontologist for the Canyon County District of the Bureau of Land Management, located in Moab, Utah. So she's had a few different government positions before, which the three of us at the North Dakota Geological Survey, we work for the state government, but Rebecca has worked for the federal government. So a little bit different type setup, but just shows another flavor of what you can do with paleontology. Rebecca holds a Master's of Science in Geology from Texas Tech University and has a Bachelor's of Science in Earth Science from the University of Arkansas. So I'll leave the intro at that, and then Rebecca, whatever you would like to talk to us about today or show us, we are fully open for. So thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I appreciate it. Yeah, so we are at the bone wall here at Dinosaur National Monument. The quarry is currently closed due to the pandemic that's going on, but it's kind of nice because we have the whole place to ourselves. So I'll be able to show you around today and show you a few interesting things. So just to start off, the quarry is located in the late Jurassic, so the Morrison Formation, and it's about 150 million years old. And what makes this site so unique and so special is that it preserves a major bone bed or accumulation of a bunch of dinosaurs that died. And we believe that these dinosaurs died around 150 million years ago, probably in 3 separate events. This is an ancient river channel behind me here, this sandstone, and you can see there's dinosaur bones in here. Up here is a series of vertebrae. Behind me is an Apatosaurus femur, and the wall is full of bones like these. And so these bones all are deposited in what is an ancient river stream. And so the river stream would have been existing here back 150 million years ago, and these animals were living near there because there's water, so there's plants, and everybody's happy. But then just like today, a drought happened. And when this drought happened, it probably stressed out a lot of those animals, and they died. And they would have died around the river, and some of them may have actually died down in the river channel itself. And then when the floods returned, that buried a lot of these carcasses. And we know that this probably happened here at least 3 different times to bury and preserve these remains. And one of the things that tells us that these animals were preserved in a river channel during a drought is that we have clams, little clam fossils, and all of those clams are actually open, which tells us they were drying out and that they weren't healthy and underwater and doing their normal clam thing. So clam fossils are actually one of the key things here that tells us a little bit about the site. So I'm going to turn the phone around real quick and just sort of show you some of the different bones that we have here on the wall for those of you who haven't been here before. So here we have Allosaurus. This is one of the main dinosaurs that has been found at the quarry. So this is what the inside of the building looks like. The building is built around the dinosaur quarry. So you can see, this is what it looks like. All of those things that you're seeing up there are all different dinosaur bones. So here again is that Apatosaurus femur. There's a string of vertebrae. There's Stegosaurus spikes up here. This is kind of a big jumble of bones over here. We can get up close and personal to some of this stuff. But as you can see, it's just full of bones. We even have bones up close here that you're able to touch when you come and visit the site. Here's a big arm bone, a scapula coracoid up by the shoulder, and it has even the scapula coracoid of a Stegosaurus laying right on top of this big, long neck plant-eating dinosaurs. So you can even see the different sizes. There's a big rib. So the quarry here preserves about 1,500 different kinds of dinosaur bones. We mostly have a lot of sauropod dinosaurs. So when I talk about sauropod dinosaurs, those are the long neck plant-eating dinosaurs. So here you can see a picture of some of those. Camarasaurus is the most abundant long neck sauropod that we get. You can see he's here. Camarasaurus is the most common sauropod that we get in the Morrison Formation in general. We also have Barosaurus and Diplodocus and Apatosaurus that are also represented here at the quarry. We have Stegosaurus, one of everybody's favorite fossils. And then of course we have the Allosaurus. Everyone loves Allosaurus. So Allosaurus was one of the main predators that lived during the late Jurassic. And this is a skeletal reconstruction that we have here on site. But one of the cool things that we have here at the quarry is this Allosaurus skull. So this Allosaurus skull here was found in the quarry. It was collected in 1924 by the University of Utah. And check out those teeth. This was a predator. It ate meat. It ate probably pretty much whatever it wanted. This is a really beautiful, complete skull that we have from here at the quarry. Another one of the really neat things that we have that has been found here at the quarry is a baby stegosaur. So here you can see the reconstruction of this stegosaur. There's its little arms and its little legs. And we don't have any plates preserved for this particular specimen, but they likely would have had little plates on their back when they were tiny, you know. This is a reconstruction of what may have happened to that poor little guy. Everybody loves Stegosaurus, right? And when we come over here to the bone wall, you can see all sorts of different bones. I'm not sure if I can zoom in. This is a field jacket. We wrap bones in, usually we'll wrap toilet paper around them, which seems just awful to even think about right now. We would wrap them in toilet paper and then plaster and burlap, and that would help protect them if we needed to remove them from the ground. And the reason that we have a few things in jackets here is when the building was being repaired in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, they were worried that they may need to remove a few of these bones. So we have a few things that are still in little plaster jackets. Now, if you can see that smaller bone right next to the larger one, that is a juvenile Apatosaurus femur. So it's kind of a little guy, and it actually has some cool teeth marks on it. So that is one of the only bones that we have in the quarry that we can tell has been chewed on. Most of the bones in the quarry appear to have been not scavenged upon, but they do have, some of them have little impressions where bugs were chewing on them. So we know that bugs were probably boring down through their bodies and helping to break those bodies down. And sometimes they would go too far down and they would hit the bone, and they would leave these little kind of like pock marks on the bone, and those are left over from bugs. So think about Jurassic bugs eating dinosaurs. So that's kind of a cool thing. So let me turn you around here. And I was going to walk you over and show you a few of the other neat things that we have on exhibit here in the quarry. So here we have an Apatosaurus skull. And look at his teeth. This is one of those long neck plant eaters. He has these really goofy teeth. He's almost like a rake. And they would have used these really small peg-like teeth to pull vegetation or plants and leaves and things like that into their mouth. And they probably swallowed them down and then would grind them up in their, you know, in their body like modern day birds do, using little stones. Here you can see some more of those little tiny teeth. They're about the size of a pencil. So kind of cool. This one's Apatosaurus louisei. So a fun fact is that the Carnegie Museum are the folks that worked here at the quarry originally and for most of the time. And Andrew Carnegie, who was the person that started the Carnegie Museum, he has a dinosaur called Diplodocus carnegii that was found in Wyoming that's named after him. And when they found the quarry here, the very first dinosaur they found was an Apatosaurus. And it was pretty articulated. It was pretty well together. And they very smartly decided to name this Apatosaurus when they found it Apatosaurus louisei, which is named after Andrew Carnegie's wife, Louise. So pretty smart move on their side there. This funny looking thing right here, that is a Camarasaurus tooth. So Camarasaurus had these funny little thumbnail sized teeth that would have had these all in its mouth. But remember, Apatosaurus and Camarasaurus are living at the same time. They're both eating probably similar things, but you can see they have different kinds of teeth. And that's probably helping them to be able to do different kinds of foraging. So here you can see some Diplodocus herd, and the Apatosaurus. And then the Camarasaurus looks like this. You can see their head is held a little higher. They have a little more of a boxy skull, and their body shape just a little different. They're not as long. And I'm not sure if you can see it from here. We may need to go upstairs, but right where my finger is pointing, we have a Camarasaurus skull up on the wall. And that's one of the more amazing things at this quarry. We actually have two of those skulls, two different Camarasaurus skulls that are found up on the wall. And those are the only two skulls that you can currently see on the wall when you come visit. So a few other things we have here. This is a Stegosaurus backplate. And this is what we call unofficially a thegamizer. It's the spike at the end of the Stegosaurus tail. So you can see here. The Stegosaurus plates that go along the back, they change kind of depending where you are on the back in size and shape. Some of them are more triangular. Some are, they almost look like shark fins. They're all different shapes and sizes. Another couple of other cool fossils we have. Here's one of those clams I was telling you about that's open. We have many turtles that have been found here. This is part of a crocodile. So part of the jaw. And then this turtle here, it preserves the little foot, which is really interesting. A little bitty turtle foot. Now it's found on the quarry as well. The thing that makes Dinosaur National Monument really unique too, though, is that while we have this amazing quarry, we have lots of other really cool Morrison sites in this area. And there's a lot of little animals that come out of there. So this is a small reptile skull. It's very, very tiny. It would fit easily on my thumb. So that's the skull of a little sphenodonted-like reptile. We have a little early mammal skull here. Here's some lizard legs and feet. And then this is a cool little crocodile called Hoplosuchus that was found by the original Carnegie excavators. And he's very tiny, and he kind of would have been more of a terrestrial crocodile. So kind of a neat guy. I was telling you about those bugs that chew on the dinosaur bone. So here you can see all those little pits on this piece of dinosaur bone are from bugs chewing on the bone. We also have proof of bugs that have bored in petrified wood. So those are a few of the cool things that we have here on exhibit. I do want to show you one neat thing if you ever have a chance to go to the Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh. When they were excavating here, they found the bones of a really, really cool juvenile Camarasaurus. And this specimen that you've probably seen on exhibit in many museums is one of the most complete sauropod dinosaurs that has ever been found. It's missing a few vertebrae, but that's really about it. And this was found on the quarry wall. So now whenever you see this in a museum, you'll know where it came from. But it's really a beautiful specimen. Very small for a sauropod. And that was found up at the top of the wall. So when we look at the wall here, and you can see how tall that is, this fence is about, what, about 4 feet tall? The quarry wall is pretty high. Think about this quarry wall extending upward twice as much as it is here. And that has all been removed. Everything you see up there is daylight. And there used to be rock up there. And they quarried and removed all of this rock to remove all of these various dinosaur bones that are now on display around the world. You can see exhibits in Denver, Toronto, the American Museum of Natural History, the Nebraska Museum. We have fossils from this site in many different places. The new Smithsonian exhibits have some of our specimens as well. So this is some cool stuff to see. Let's see. I'm going to show you a picture of the quarry map so you can kind of envision what it used to look like. Here's a close-up of one section of our quarry map that just sort of shows where some of the different bones are present. Let's see. Here's a picture of some people excavating on the wall. This was a much older picture, and this picture is a little more recent. So up until the mid-90s, they were still excavating bones on the wall. When you visit these days, you may notice that they're not excavating anymore. And people often ask, well, you know, why aren't you removing bones from the wall? And that's because the whole point of the monument was to leave these in place for people to be able to see and appreciate and enjoy. So when you come to the monument, there will always be dinosaur bones here in the quarry for you to come and enjoy. Does anybody have any questions about any of the dinosaurs?
Okay, looks like we have a few questions in here. One of which you pretty much already answered, but is the are you ever going to dig up all the bones?
No, we'll never dig up all the bones. Even underneath my feet right now, the bone layer continues going down. All the rocks here, you know, originally were flat lying when they were deposited, and then mountain building happened in this area, and now all the rocks are tilted up. So the quarry is at a very steep angle here. So a lot of the original fossils that were found on the top of the ridgeline here. Those have all been excavated, and the quarry continues underground, and the building's only covering one portion of it. So we know that there's probably still dinosaurs under our feet right now, which is kind of cool, and we'll probably never see those.
Okay, how rare is it for you to find a young or juvenile Stegosaurus?
Very rare. You can probably count all the juvenile stegosaurs on one hand. They're very rare. There have even been tracks that have been found of them, but they are not very common to find. So it's a pretty cool thing that we have a small juvenile here.
Is there any active research being done on the wall?
There's a lot of active research being done on the wall. We have scientists who are looking at the sauropod, those long-necked dinosaurs specifically, and looking at all the different bones and trying to identify them down to maybe even species level, so really refine those identifications. There are people doing research on the wall trying to figure out how all the bones may have been transported in the river and how some of those bodies may have broken apart when they were decaying and being deposited as fossils. There's also research going on to try to figure out specifically what we call the depositional environment, how all these bones got covered up and what that process was. So that's also some research that's going on here at the quarry.
What kind of plant fossils have you found in the quarry?
A great question. I don't think you can see it. I'll grab the phone and see if we can spin you around. Do you see that long black stripe up there, where right here where my finger's pointing? That is a carbonized log. So that is a large tree, and it's the tip of it is pointing this way, and the root ball is pointing that way. So that kind of helps tell us that maybe the water flow was going in this direction. So as far as plants go in this quarry specifically, it's mostly wood like that.
Can you explain again why you've removed the top portion of the quarry instead of leaving all of those fossils on the edge?
Sure. So when they found the quarry, everything behind me here was underground. That was all covered under, you know, more rock and dirt. And the Carnegie Museum, when they came out here, they specifically came out here to look for fossils to excavate for the new Carnegie Museum to put on display. Because dinosaur museums were still pretty new at that time, especially in America. So they were specifically here to collect dinosaur bones. So that's why all those bones above us here are now gone, and all the rock and the rock and debris that they shoved off is actually what our parking lot is built on. And the monument we weren't an actual national monument when they first started coming here to do their excavations. That came a little later, but the Carnegie Museum was really big players in making sure that this place was set aside as a special place, as a monument. And then digging has continued until then, or until recently. And that's why all these bones behind us are preserved, so that you could come and see them, because it is a really special place.
Do you know what species the carbonized tree is?
Don't know. I don't think anybody knows. There's not enough of it really left behind to be able to identify it that well.
What is your favorite dinosaur?
Ooh, that's a hard one. My favorite dinosaur here on the wall would be a toss-up between Stegosaurus, which is a really cool dinosaur, and there's a lot of really neat variability on him. And then we also have a juvenile Allosaurus. So he would have been like a young teenager dinosaur, and we have his foot preserved. And so it's his foot and his lower leg bone and his upper leg bone. And it still even preserves the little claws on the tips of his feet. So it's actually kind of one of my favorite specimens. It's kind of cool.
Okay, looks like we're reaching the end of our questions. I'm not seeing any other big questions popping up here. So unless anybody quick chats into the chat or the question answer, thank you so much for joining us on this cold, blustery day. We hear you had to go through some weather yourself to get there.
Yeah, that's all good. We drove slow. Everybody be safe out there in this crazy weather. Spring, right?
It is April.
It is.
Okay, well, with that, I guess thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
and
you for
stay safe.
Thank you. You all as well.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you. Take care.